Welcome to another episode of SportsVibe, episode 80. I'm your host, Arnav Sarkar, here for a solo episode. The Eagles won the Super Bowl. It's Valentine's Day, so, quite a tough one for single people, for Eagles haters, Giants fans in particular, obviously. Personally, I'm over anything related to Saquon Barkley. A narrative that I was trying to push on Twitter actually was, did the Giants get a win because Saquon Barkley was held? But some Eagles fans didn't really think that one held any water. Obviously, that's okay. It really doesn't hold a lot of water, but because technically, I mean, the game plan was to shut down Barkley, and they did that. The Chiefs did that, but they couldn't get just about anything else going. Horrible game for the Chiefs. I mean, I don't think anyone could have imagined this. I mean, the O-line broke down in the worst way at the worst time. Moving Tooney to left guard seemed to work all right. Or left tackle rather. Even though he's usually a right guard, I believe. So then that left Caliendo at right guard. The whole line fell apart, except for I'd say center Creed Humphrey. But Eagles put 34 on the board before the Chiefs could get going. Mahomes, I mean, he tried his sidearm. He got picked off by Zach Bond. He got picked off and returned for pick six from Cooper DeJean, which was, at which point we thought, Chiefs were not going to be able to come back. I mean, they fell behind 10-0 a couple times, but this one was a different game. The Chiefs just kept going. The Eagles just kept going, and the Chiefs just had no answer. I wrote a long article on breaking down the game, but I mean, a few different things happened. The Chiefs O-line collapsed at the worst time. Mahomes just was pressured, hit, sacked. Lost a fumble, although that one came from the rush. I got roasted for that because last time Jalen Hurts fumbled it, and I made sure to call him out on that one. But that happened. Even when Mahomes, was able to throw, oftentimes he threw low. Kelsey couldn't catch. Kelsey couldn't block. I mean, receivers downfield. So basically, the O-line, Mahomes just had no time. I mean, he was just sacked, hurried, hit, pressured all game long. When he did get time, the throws were errant. And on defense, I mean, the Chiefs try to let up, but the Eagles just wore them down. I mean, the Chiefs sold out against the run to a point where Saquon Barkley was limited to 57 on the ground, had 40 through the air as a screen receiver, which is also a good part of his game. But when the Chiefs did bring pressure, Jalen Hurts, they got a pick. Forced the Eagles off the field, but the other times when there was no pressure, the Eagles had no problem. Hurts waltzing through pressure, he actually became the leading rusher for the Eagles, 72 yards and just 11 carries compared to Saquon Barkley's 57 yards on 25 carries, a 2.3 per carry for Barkley, 6.5 for Jalen Hurts, a push touchdown staple there. But yeah, I mean, between the O-line, between the receivers, between Mahomes just throwing some errant passes, and between the Eagles just dominating. I mean, Jalen Hurts with the dagger pass to Devontae Smith, what a dime there. And at the end of the game, I mean, the Chiefs kind of let free, and maybe that's a sign that they should do that next season because obviously the Eagles didn't give them much time, but when Mahomes became improviser Mahomes, gunslinger Mahomes, he was able to run free and throwing on the run, throwing the side. Those sideways passes, under pressure. I mean, chucking the deep ball. I mean, that's the Patrick Mahomes, and those are the Kansas City Chiefs, the Legion of Zoom that we all, grew and loved. But this season, we didn't see much of it, and the Chiefs just found ugly ways to win. And, their defense usually kept teams in check, but this time the defense allowed 40 to Philadelphia. I mean, it was 34-6. It was 40-6, and the Chiefs, I mean, Xavier Worthy had a heck of a game in garbage time. I mean, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a stud. Rashee Rice, he's another stud. But, I mean, it was just too little too late for Kansas City. I mean, Xavier Worthy, Mahomes linking up a couple of times. DeAndre Hopkins had a touchdown. The Chiefs definitely made things exciting. But the dart to Xavier Worthy down the field, I mean, that was probably even more impressive than Jalen Hurts' bomb to Devontae Smith, to be completely honest with you. More, even farther away, bigger aerial distance. So Mahomes is like, anything you could do, I could do better. But unfortunately, it was too late. And at that point, it was garbage time. I think the Eagles did have their starters still in there, but it was garbage time. I think they did let up on coverage just a little bit. They played it easier. The Chiefs did make it look competitive, but yeah, no three-peat for Kansas City. The parades today in Philadelphia, a lot of craziness. Heard there were like shots and everything, and this is just not good. I mean, I don't know why people keep doing the same thing again. I mean, happened in Kansas City a year ago, and it's just unfortunate. But prayers up to anyone involved in that. But excuse me. But yeah, I mean, quite the game, quite the Super Bowl. Fly go birds. Obviously I wasn't happy, but I was not thrilled. But I mean, the game was so dominant. The Eagles pass rush put on a clinic. I mean, only rushing 4, getting Mahomes on the ground, sacked, hurried, pressured, 2 interceptions. I mean, they put on a clinic as to how to rush a passer, without even blitzing. And the Chiefs really needed to blitz. It was blitz or nothing for Kansas City. So the Birds definitely were the better team. I didn't expect the O-line to get involved, exposed that badly. I mean, yes, I'm a Giants fan. I like the Chiefs, but I was hoping for a good game between the two teams. I thought, maybe the Eagles were the better team. I think even more than 2 years ago, I think it was very debatable which way which team was better. I think this year, Saquon Barkley I thought would be the difference maker. He wasn't, but the rest of the team stepped up, and I think the Eagles are just better in so many different positions, from quarterback, not quarterback, but receiver, running back, both sides of the line. I mean, you could say the secondary, the linebacking core. I mean, pretty much up and down the field. I mean, the Eagles are better. I mean, the only positions where the Chiefs are probably better, you could say, are quarterback, tight end, maybe kicker. But even those 3 guys, Mahomes had 2 interceptions, didn't really have the best game until garbage time. Jalen Hurts are very efficient, 17 for 22. I mean, Kelsey was awful. I mean, I've always liked Kelsey, but lately he just could not catch. He could not block. He wasn't even trying. I mean, it was just really disappointing. And him pushing around Eagles players, trying to talk trash for no reason. I mean, I didn't like it. Not when he put that little effort forward. I mean, I just was not a fan of that at all. And then Harrison Butker, didn't really even get an opportunity because the Chiefs always went for 2 on the 2-point conversions, no field goals. So quiet game for Butker. People making fun of that because of the things that he said about women, but I'm not going to comment on that one. But yeah, I mean, other NFL news, the Giants exploring a potential sale of a minority stake, 10%. So we'll see how that how that plays out. Free agency, the draft coming up. I mean, are the Giants going to select Sanders or Ward, or maybe they'll get Travis Hunter? Who knows? You know what I mean? It's going to be exciting draft season. The Giants have seen Matt Stafford, even Cooper Kupp potentially on the trade block potentially could get him. I mean, the Giants need a quarterback. I think that'd be very exciting. Yeah, I mean, I would say the Eagles have to be the favorites to repeat. Like, I mean, with this kind of roster, obviously the Chiefs are going to, I'm sure, address their offensive tackle problem again. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, I think, are going to be a heck of a combination. They maybe address the running back position. That's probably another thing that the Chiefs could not get the run game going. I mean, they got the pass game going very, very strongly, but they actually not really. I mean, their pass game was limited, but their run game, they didn't have a chance to run the ball. But I mean, Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, not quite themselves, but I mean, they just had no running room. I mean, P. Ryan had 1 carry for 8 yards, Kareem Hunt 3 for 9, Pacheco 3 for 7. I mean, just they hardly ran it, and they looked like the way the O-line was, they were not going to be able to run it. They were starting to run into a wall. But I mean, combination of how good the Eagles front is, how bad the Chiefs O-line is, and the fact that they had to pass it all the time. Mahomes actually had 25 yards and 4 carries. Yeah, just so I mean, just getting another number 1 back, I think would be good. I mean, establish the run presence. I mean, I think Kareem Hunt, they could have used him a little bit more to kind of mix it up, but at the same time, they did fall behind very early in the game, and even when they did try to run the ball, it didn't really work. So oh no! I mean, that's again where the Eagles, you pay a premium for your receivers and your backs, like Saquon Barkley, paying him a hefty contract. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, you pay premium money to these guys, and that's the difference. I mean, the Chiefs obviously, smartly pay their guys cheap. But at the same time, you could really use a number 1. I mean, Xavier Worthy, I think, alongside Rashee Rice, I think that's going to be a good combo. And you're always going to get, if Kelsey comes back. But I think the run game, I think you at least need an option. I thought Kareem Hunt could be an option. I didn't really expect him to have any more than 50 yards and a touchdown. But the way that they were just bottled up, I mean, they really hardly went to the run game at all because they fell so far behind. But, I mean, I would have wanted them to at least give that a shot. Play two-dimensional. Now, whether that would have worked or not is a different story, but we don't really even know because we never really got to try that out. So yeah, I mean, a little bit more of a run presence I think would have helped, but also just there's just no time for the Chiefs in the pocket. So I mean, maybe the run would have stopped, but just not even really getting it off the ground, I think. was unfortunate. I think you need to be two-dimensional. I mean, we saw the threat of Saquon Barkley, and even though he didn't have a good game, the Eagles, opened up the pass, but the Chiefs could never really open up the pass because the Eagles knew they were going to pass every time, and they just put pressure on Mahomes, even just bringing four. So just really impressive how the Chiefs were able to pull that off. And, I mean, the Eagles, excuse me, and not the Chiefs. And, yeah, I mean, that's all I got, for the Super Bowl. It's unfortunate. Obviously not a big fan of the Eagles, but they put on a clinic on both sides of the football, especially defense or offense also as well. You stop one guy, they have Devontae Smith, they have AJ Brown, even Jahan Dotson got involved in the pass game. Dallas Goedert. I mean, they list goes on and on. Goddard only had 2 catches for 27, but Barkley, even as a receiver, Jahan Dotson, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith all got going. Jalen Hurts on the ground. Yeah, I mean, they were the best team in football. They had the best roster in football, but a lot of people thought, oh, the Chiefs are going to find a way. And, no one, even the few people who picked the Eagles, and I was one of them, only had them winning by 3. I could have never imagined the Chiefs getting blown out, as they had not all season. They put together the most complete game. Yes, they might have played bad. They might have struggled. They might have BS'd their way through a lot of games, but not this time around. Not this time around. I mean, against the Bills, they look good, but against the Eagles, they did not. Eagles just exposed them. Sometimes it really is that simple. Best team on both sides of the line scrimmage wins football games. That was the Philadelphia Eagles, plus better skill position players, and sometimes that's all that makes the difference in football. But with that being said, that's a Super Bowl for you. I wanted to also talk about the NBA and NHL playoffs. Yeah, I mean, I'm not playoffs, excuse me. But the All-Star festivities. We can also talk about the standings real quick while we're at it. Going into the festivities for All-Star weekend. The Cavs have been extremely hot all year, 44-10. I mean, they look good. I mean, you got Donovan Mitchell, you got Evan Mobley, you got Darius Garland. I mean, they're 44-10. The Celtics 39-16. The Knicks they're 36-18. The Pacers 30-23. The Bucks, recovering from a slow start to the season, they're 29-24. The Pistons 29-26. Their first time they're really in this conversation in a long time. They have a winning streak of 4 games and 2 close losses, including to the Cavs, but they have really come a long way. The Magic and the Hawks round out the bottom here. The Heat's right now sitting in the play-in spot at number 9. They're on a 4-game losing streak. They got rid of Jimmy Butler at the trade deadline. A lot of crazy trades. The Bulls, another team where Jimmy Butler was formerly a player, they lost 4. They're in the 10th spot. Another teams where Jimmy Butler was a member of, in the 11th spot, the Sixers and my Brooklyn Nets sitting at 12 with the same 20-34 record. The Nets are on a 3-game win streak, and their last loss was to the Wizards. So kind of weird, but the Cavs coming to town after the break. Yeah, and then Raptors, Hornets, Wizards. These teams at the bottom all trying to tank for Cooper Flag, East Bailey, Dylan Harper, Rutgers guys in there as well. You might talk about college basketball a little later. We'll see. In the Western Conference, the Thunder sitting with the same record as the Cavaliers at 44-10. The young core of OKC just continuing to impress. I mean, you got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, all the guys on that team that are just, fantabulous players. Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein was a good move. Jalen Williams, their young core. I mean, they still got a lot of draft picks. The Grizz in second, the Nuggets in third on an 8-game win streak right now. And they're always in the conversation. The Rockets are hot, 34-21, even though they lost to the Nets twice. They've been able to kind of pull it together lately. The Los Angeles Lakers, after getting Luka Doncic, he had 16 in his debut. LeBron with 18. They lost to the Jazz. I thought they were winning. This was the second game. The first game was in LA, and they put on a show. Luka he had 14. LeBron at 24, Hachimura 21, and then they flip it, go to Utah, but then the Jazz win that one. But Lakers playing the Hornets, where Dalton Knecht got traded to, and then they undid the trade. This is a bizarre situation all around there. But the Lakers now staying in 5th, their title contention window's open. I mean, they might be lower than some of these teams, but playoff time, you got LeBron, you got Luka. They got a roster. Their center went back, but they're going to be in the contention. The Clippers with James Harden and Paul George, I mean, they're in 6th. The Wolves and the Mavs 7th and 8th. the Mavs now with AD. He got injured, but they're in the conversation. The Kings and the Warriors. We remember that series from a few years ago. They're 9-10, 8-27. The Suns right now sitting outside 26-28. The Spurs with Wembanyama, Chris Paul, they're trying to make a run at it. 23-39. The Blazers probably out of conversation, 23-32, and the Jazz and Pelicans just awful at 13-41, 13-42. So they're in the lottery hunt. But that's your NBA standings. Going into the All-Star break, today's Rising Stars day. So they kind of changed the format a little bit. We got some All-Star semifinal things going on. So they have these different teams and with rookies and sophomores. So there's Team T versus Team C in Game 1, and then G League versus M, and then the winner will go into the NBA All-Stars tournament. So just to read out all of these players on these teams, just to give you a little rundown here. Team T, Anthony Black, Tristan Da Silva, Grady Dick, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Zachary Richase, the number 1 pick, I believe. Alex Sarr is the number 1 pick. So they're uniting again. And then Cason Wallace, a lot of the rookies on that one. Team M with Tumani Kamara, Bub Carrington, Bilal Koulibaly, Scoot Henderson, Yves Missy, Amen, and Asar Thompson, the twins reuniting there. They were, I think, 3rd and 4th pick in the draft there. So this is going to be an exciting format. I'm putting all these teams together. Very interesting, right? Team C, Stefan Castle, Ryan Dunn, Zach Edey. We remember him from college. Keontae George, Trace Jackson Davis, former Indiana Hoosier, Dalton Connect, and Jalen Wells. And G League, J.D. Davison, Mac McClung, Bryce McGowans, Leonard Miller. I don't really know any of these guys through G League guys. Distinct Pate, except for I know Reed Shepard, I know Mac McClung, and Pat Spencer, the brother of Cam Spencer, who was a really good player at Rutgers, and then went to UConn. So that's the Rising Stars tournament. It should be a more fun format than we'll actually get serious basketball instead of whatever's been going on the last couple of years, which I'm excited about. So the other game, of course, the celebrity game, that's going to be before that on that one on ESPN. So some of the interesting celebrities in this one are Terrell Owens, former NFL wide receiver, Hall of Famer. It's been a while since he played in it since 2010. He apparently had off the backboard alley-oop dunk, so probably not going to be able to do that. Kai Cenat, the former popular YouTube streamer, a current YouTube streamer, he's going to be in there. He's back, coming back. So the coaches, interesting, Barry Bonds and rapper 2 Chainz. Apparently Kai didn't really play a lot, and the comedian Drewski is going to be in that one. That should be an interesting game. That one's all a little bit fun. But yeah, I mean, we'll see how that one goes. It should be some good stuff in the NBA celebrity game. Yeah, I mean, it should be a good one, right? Celebrity All-Star game. I don't know. That one's kind of whatever. But the format of the Rising Stars tournament is going to be good, and then the winner is the winner of Game 1, Game 2. The championship they'll play in the All-Star tournament. Saturday night, as a kid, that was always my favorite night of All-Star weekend. Just watching the skills competition. The team, the Cavs, 2 of the top players on their team, Daniel Jones, Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley, on the team there. There's some dribbling, shooting, the passing, the skills challenge. Team Rooks, Alex Sarr and Zachary Richase, the 2 French guys. They're on a team. Spurs, Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama. So your ultimate point guard and your ultimate versatile big man. They're very skilled players. Very good passers. Ball handlers. They could shoot. They're a really good point guard center duo. Your ultimate point guard and your ultimate center in terms of skill set, really. And then the Warriors. No Steph, but you got Draymond Green and Moses Moody. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely a pick and roll guy. I mean, these guys, yeah, they could they could do that. so that should be an interesting one, a little double action. And then we get into the 3-point competition, where you got Damian Lillard going for a three-peat. He Yeah, I mean, winning two in a row. I mean, he's going to try to do what the Chiefs were not able to do, and he's from right across the bay in Oakland, so going to the in his hometown here, it'll be kind of cool. I'm used to play not too far in Portland, but also from the Bay, on the other side, but yeah, I mean, the 3-point competition, that should be a good one. I mean, other guys in there, Jalen Brunson, Tyler Hero. There's more than that. Let me just look that up real quick. But yeah, let me see. That one's always a good one. Last year we had the Steph versus Serena or whatever, Sabrina. That was interesting. This time not so much, but Damian Lillard, Jalen Brunson from the Knicks, Tyler Hero, Darius Garland, Buddy Hield, very good sharpshooter, Norman Powell, Cam Johnson, the Brooklyn Nets, and Cade Cunningham from the Pistons. So yeah, just really skilled 3-point shooters. No Steph Curry here. Just looking at some of these percentages and attempts per game. So Hero leads the field in volume. He shoots almost 10 per game, 38.8. Dame Lillard, 30.2 on over 9. Darius Garland, the best percentage from the field, a little bit less volume, under 7. But Hero, 38.8 with almost 10 per game. I mean, he's more than the shooter, but he is one heck of a sharpshooter. Got that swagger. Buddy Hield, 37 on exactly 7. Norman Powell, 42.9 on almost 8. Jalen Brunson, 39.8 on under 6. So, 3-point shooting is part of his game. Not the only part, but almost a 40% shooter on decent volume. Cam Johnson from my Brooklyn Nets, 7.6 threes per game, 41.7. So he's a heck of a shooter. And Cade Cunningham, not your super best 3-point shooter, but definitely in the conversation, 6.4 per game at 35.2. So maybe not he might be the underdog in this one. But yeah, Garland, Powell, and Johnson, above 40% from 3. Garland best percentage, although one of the lower attempts. Hero shooting it at the highest volume, so things to look out for. Dame Lillard, probably the best established shooter in the game, but Cam Johnson, I think, is going to be in there. Hero's going to be in there. Garland's going to be in there. Should be a tough field. But yeah, you know how it works. So money balls, all of that good stuff. Probably one of the best point things in that in the weekend. But the dunk contest, we had the Levine versus Aaron Gordon stuff, but things have kind of gone down. But since then, Mac McClung's put on a show the last couple years. But he's gonna try three-peating. I mean, so another thing that the Chiefs didn't do. But Stephon Castle, is gonna be in there. Let's just see who else is in this dunk contest. Should be good. I mean, McClung always puts on a show. Some of these other guys, I mean, they never have the best dunkers because they don't want to, get injured, things like that. Like LeBron James has never done it. I'd love to see him in the dunk contest, but it used to be one of the best, the best part of the weekend. Now it's just kind of been but Levine and Gordon was ridiculous, but yeah, I mean, McClung, Andre Jackson from the Bucks, Stephon Castles from the Spurs, and Matas Buzelis from Chicago Bulls. Don't really even know these guys, but yeah, I mean, it's just very interesting. So McClung, we've seen him do ridiculous dunks, up and unders and whatnot. So he's one heck of a dunker. I really feel like what they should do with this event is maybe put some professional dunkers in it because, their whole game is, focused on dunking and, I mean, McClung is pretty good, but I mean, I would like maybe him going against some, we should have some a real professional freestyle dunkers because this is not really kind of the same thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, either that or you get guys like LeBron in it, but I don't know. I think for entertainment days, I think McClung is I think McClung is going to be pretty solid there. I think Castle might bring in Wembanyama, try to dunk over him. We'll see about that, but I think Mac McClung going to win that one. And then of course the Sunday special is going to be the fun one because you got the tournament here and the way they set these up. So the G League winner will play in this bracket, but the way they set these up is we got Chuck's Global Stars, Shaq's OGs, and Kenny's young stars. So they drafted them in a very particular way. I thought they were supposed to be random drafts, but I guess not. Global stars are include Giannis Antetokounmpo, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's from Canada, Nikola Jokic, Donovan Mitchell, who's from the U.S., but not perfect. But Alfred Sengun, Turkey, Pascal Siakam, I believe he's a foreign as well. Karl Anthony Towns from actually not. He went to high school in St. Joe's, New Jersey guy. Victor Wembanyama, of course, the French guy, and Trae Young. So those are the Chuck's global stars. We got Kenny's young stars in there as well. We got Jalen Brunson, Kate Cunningham, Anthony Edwards, Darius Garland, Tyler Hero, Jaren Jackson Jr. From the Grizz. We got Evan Mobley and Jalen Williams. So the young guys going against the international guys, going against the OGs, which include all the legends of the game, and current champions, guys like that. You got Jaylen Brown, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis reuniting with his teammate LeBron James, got Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving, Dame Lillard, and Jason Tatum. So that's going to be the team to beat. Can the OGs take on? Can the OGs knock off the global stars? Can they knock off the young stars? And can they knock off the G League team, who's going to be coached by Candace Parker, the rising star? So we'll see which team comes out of that, out of the Friday bracket, to make it to the the championship round, basically. So Jeremy Lin actually is going to be coaching G League, so that's very interesting. So the winner of that gets coached by Candace Owens, who's going to be in the 14 bracket, where we got the global stars going against the young stars in the first game, and then the OGs going against the rising stars in the second game, and then game 3, the championship game. First to 40 wins. So this is going to be more competitive than your usual All-Star game, where guys are just BSing out there, shooting threes from half court, just no defense, which is good. So I'm happy for that. It should be a good All-Star NBA weekend. It was always one of my favorite weekends as a kid, growing up, and even nowadays. But that's a fun one. NHL, instead of their All-Star game, have put together the 4 nations face off: USA, Finland, Sweden, Canada. That one already started. It should be a really good tournament, because a lot of times NHL players don't play in the Olympics. This is kind of like their championship kind of game. It's pretty solid, you know what I mean? Canada defeated Sweden 4-3 in overtime. And this is in Montreal. USA drubbed Finland, I believe 6-1 or 6-2, something like that. I think both Brady and Matt Tkachuk scored twice each, which that's a heck of a performance there. So the Tkachuk brothers each scored twice, as to knock them off. Matt Tkachuk from Florida, Brady Tkachuk, not the biggest hockey fan, but both of them had 2 goals each. A lot of Devils on this. Jack Hughes in there, but Jack Eichel for the U.S. So definitely one of the strong teams here. It's just a lot of fun. These tournaments. Just to look at some of these games coming up. Finland versus Sweden tomorrow at 1. U.S. versus Canada, probably the game of the tournament. There, who's really better? Canada, they got team. Just go through these rosters. They got Sam Bennett, Anthony Cirelli, the legend himself, Sidney Crosby, Brandon Hagel, Seth Jarvis, Travis Konecny from the Flyers, Nathan McKinnon, Brad Marchand, Mitch Marner, Connor McDavid, the legendary Oiler, Brayden Point, Sam Reiner, and Mark Stone, Drew Doughty, Cale Makar, Josh Morrissey, Colton Parayako, Travis Synum, Shea Theodore, Devin Tays, Jordan Binnington, Aiden Hill, and Sam Montembolt. Finland got guys like, I don't want to read these whole rosters, but Sebastian Aho, Joel Armia, Alexander Barkov from the Panthers, Kyle Grenlund, Eric Halla, the Devil, Rupi Hintz from the Stars, Capo Caco, now on the Seattle Kraken, former number 2 pick, Patrick Laine, Arturi Lehkonen, Anton Lundell from the Panthers, Eetu Luostarinen from the Panthers, Mikko Rantanen from the Hurricanes, Tivu Teravainen from the Blackhawks. A lot of names you might recognize: Henry Jokiarju, Issa Lindell, Oli Mata, Nico Mikkola, another Panther, Nicholas Metzen, Paulo Urho Vakainen, Huso Valimaki, and then Kevin Lankinen from the Canucks, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, the Sabres, and Jose Soros from the Predators. So Sweden, Victor Arvidsson, from the Oilers, Jesper Bratt from your New Jersey Devils, Leo Carlson, Joel Eriksson, Phil Forsberg, Adrian Kempe, Elias Lindholm, William Nylander, Gustav Nyquist, Elias Peterson, Lucas Raymond, Ricardo Raquel, Mika Zibanejad from the Rangers, Rasmus Anderson, Jonas Brodin, Rasmus Dahlin, Matthias Ekholm, Gustav Forsling, Victor Hedman, Erik Karlsson, and then Samuel Ersson from the Flyers in goal, Philip Gustafsson, and Linus Ullmark, longtime Boston Bruins goalie. And from the USA, your United States hockey team, Matt Boldy, Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, now on the Vegas Golden Knights, Jake Wensel, Jack Hughes from the New Jersey Devils, Chris Kreider, Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews from the Leafs, JT Miller, Brock Nelson, Brady Tkachuk, Matt Tkachuk, Vincent Trocheck, Brock Faber, Aaron Fox, Noah Hannafin, Charlie McAvoy, Jake Sanderson, Jacob Slavin, and Zach Werenski, and in goal, Connor Hellebuck from the Winnipeg Jets, Jake Ottinger from Dallas, and Jeremy Swayman from the Boston Bruins. So those are your lineups for the Four Nations tournament. Yeah, I mean, one heck of a little schedule here. U.S. got the drubbing for the United States. I think it was 6-2 was the final score, if I remember correctly. 6-1. Canada had a tougher time with Sweden, so now we're going to see Finland, Sweden, U.S., Canada, and then they go to Boston. Canada taking on Finland, Sweden taking on the U.S., and the championship game. So this is like a little fun action because, even in the Olympics, like I said, like players will not often play. This is the first best on best since World Cup of Hockey 2016. Like oftentimes in the Olympics, the best won't play. So this is really like your ultimate test. Obviously, it seems like Finland is an underdog relatively, compared to some of these teams. Sweden probably like a little bit of an underdog as well. Looks like it's always the U.S. versus Canada. The U.S. always has the cups. Canada always has the best players. But this is just this is really a hockey fan's dream here. I'm not too big into it, but it should be good. I'll try to watch tomorrow's game. U.S. versus Canada at 8 p.m. So that should be a lot of fun. So also, I'll start Saturday night, so it should be a good one. Finally, just to end this episode, we got college basketball. Rutgers, clearly trending in the wrong direction once again. Losing to Iowa depleted Iowa team. They are now 12-13, 14th in the Big Ten, and trying to cling on to life for the Big Ten tournament. A West Coast trip now to Oregon and Washington. They're off 2 straight losses. USC at home after that, and then at Michigan, at Purdue, home versus Minnesota to end the season. So, yeah, really trying to stay in the conversation. I mean, they have a losing record, 12-13 overall, 5-9 in conference. So that's just not where you want to be. A lot of 5-8, 6-9 teams. I mean, Michigan, Purdue, Michigan State, all these teams at the top of the table, but it's just not really. They were leading most of it. I was there in the student section. Iowa came back and clips them, eclipsed them at the end. Some good 3-point shooting. I mean, just a little bit unfortunate there, but I mean, they got some solid shooters coming off around screens. I mean, just punishing the Scarlet Knights, late in the game. I mean, this time Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey both healthy, not sick, and still Rutgers ended up losing the game. No excuses, but yeah, Oregon is going to be a tough one. Even though they're also in a similar spot in the conference, they have a much better record non-conference. I think they're the runners-up in that Vegas tournament that Rutgers struggled in, only being Notre Dame. Washington has not been good. They're I guess slight favorites in this game, but they really struggled. One of the worst teams in the Big Ten. So they're at the bottom of the table. So Rutgers really has to take care of some business. Hopefully they make the Big Ten, and if they do, they can make a run. I mean, Duke is always doing good. I mean, there's always a college basketball crown tournament that Rutgers might get selected in. That has, I think, 2 Big Ten, 2 big AC. It's the Big East. Teams like that. It's like another NIL tournament, so it should be really interesting. Two schools, I believe, from the Big Ten, Big 12, Big East, all of Fox Sports' properties, and then the rest at larges. So that a potential showdown there, Rutgers could potentially come in if they don't make the NIT. But I don't really know how that's going to work 100%, but we'll have to see. But in terms of everything else, I mean, college basketball, yeah, it's going. So I mean, some I wanted to talk about some of the big games on tomorrow's slate. And SEC basketball is at an all-time high this year. I mean, a lot of ranked teams in there. Wisconsin, Purdue, a ranked matchup in the Big Ten at one. Um, Duke's been rolling. They recently did lose to Clemson. So they are now 21-3. A number 1 and 2 showdown tomorrow. One of the top, if not the top game in probably the college basketball season tomorrow at 4. When Alabama takes on Auburn, the Iron Bowl. The real Iron Bowl is football. Clearly these two teams didn't make the playoffs. Even Alabama. So this one should be really interesting. There's going to be a rematch later on in on the other side of the plains on the last day of the season. But yeah, this should be a really, really good game. Duke hosting Stanford, Michigan State taking on Illinois, Kentucky, Texas, Kansas, Utah, South Carolina, Florida, Mississippi, the Egg Bowl here, Mississippi taking on Ole Miss. But yeah, college basketball, seems like it's like rivalry week around here because Michigan taking on Ohio State, in basketball as well. So yeah, March Madness coming up. I mean, it's Valentine's Day, a tough one, for single people, for Eagles haters, but we're about a month away from Selection Sunday. Rutgers just isn't going to make it. I'm like 95% sure, but a lot of things could happen in college basketball from now to then. I guess just to finish off, we could look at some bracketology real quick here. But yeah, I mean, Auburn right now at the top overall seed, first team out. I'm seeing VCU, Georgia, the last team in. They haven't been good in basketball in quite a while. Some of these, surprises. Anything notable? Gonzaga right now sitting on the 8 line. I believe they knocked off San Francisco yesterday, as they did. They've kind of had a down year for their usual selves. I mean, they lost to Santa Clara, Oregon State, St. Mary's, and they're still sitting 19-7. Some non-conference losses in there. Lost to Memphis, UConn, West Virginia, even. So trailing on St. Mary's, those two likely to make the tournament. Gonzaga usually not on the 8-9 line at all, but that's where they might be. Michigan State here in the Big Ten. They put on a clinic early, but now they've kind of fallen a little bit, losing 3 of their last 4, including to the struggling Hoosiers. So they're in third: Michigan, Purdue, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Maryland. Some of the top teams in the conference, UCLA, Illinois, like not too far behind that. Rutgers trying to hang in onto Big Ten tournament contention. Yeah, I mean Illinois, Clemson, Nebraska right now on the bubble. They're scheduled to be in with a 16-9 record, 6-8 overall in the Big Ten. So they're clinging onto a 10 seed berth. Houston, as usual, good. Florida right now has a 1. Duke has a 1. Memphis is looking really good as the Americans likely qualifier, and they have extremely great non-conference wins. I mean, UConn, Michigan State. So this is going to be a team that you can watch out for making a run. Who's not your typical blue blood per se, but Memphis is going to be a tough out for anyone. Maryland, I think, looks good this year. Tennessee, I mean, it's going to be a big year for the SEC in basketball. I would say they're best, usually like the Big 12, ACC, maybe even the Big 10. But this year, I think the SEC definitely has some of the top teams. Like I said, Alabama and Auburn, who are both on 1 lines, have a big game tomorrow. Oregon on the 8 line. So yeah, March Madness. So I'll definitely, I could bring in a guest to talk about this in more detail. Just to update you on some plans for next week. I'm gonna have a Chiefs fan, a real Chiefs fan, come on, talk about the Super Bowl from their perspective, from a Kansas City perspective. Maybe talk some NFL free agency. Matt Stafford going to Giants, some NFL draft talk. What went wrong for Kansas City in Super Bowl, and a Just Vibing episode. I got to reach out to her on Twitter. Kind of another person who's in the sports journalism industry and kind of transferred out. So, some similarities with my path, but I'm excited to talk to her next week. Episode scheduled for Tuesday. It's going to be the 8th episode of Just Vibing. So I'll talk about life. I'll talk about the Chiefs, the Super Bowl, and everything sports related. But in the meantime, this has been SportsVibe episode 80. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy all the sports going on, Valentine's Day, everything else in life. And, that's pretty much going to do it. I guess back to being a Giants fan for me. No more Chiefs Kingdom in my Twitter bio, but we roll, we move. life goes on. But yeah, in the meantime, this has been episode 80 of Sports Vibe. I'm your host, Arnav Sarkar, and as always, we will see you next week.